Dog in the window. Hey, how's it going, bro? There is a very good reason why I'm trying to get rid of this bike, this FZ16, and buy myself a DRZ 400 SM. Someone broke a belt over there. Anyway, I was trying to say I've had this bike for 4 years already, and I sort of have a love-hate relationship with my FZ16. On the one hand, the FZ16 has never once, not once in the entire 4 years, had a major breakdown, and it has served me very well over these 4 years as my workhorse, my best friend, my mode of transport. But on the other hand, the FZ16 does have a lot of problems that I have with it that just really, nags at me at the back of my mind. Now I have to point out that this bike is actually quite popular in Southeast Asia and South America. So if you are a new rider from one of these areas, alright, I have a pretty good idea that this bike is probably on your radar as a new rider because of the popularity of it in the country that you are in. So the thing is, you have to listen to what I say when I'm talking about the problems that come with owning this bike. The very first thing I wanted to point out is that in general, if you are looking at this bike, 2014 and older model, 2009 to 2014, generally these original carb models are not very good in terms of the build quality. I have a 1998 Shadow 400, alright, made in Japan, a very old bike, but the chrome and metal parts are pristine. So you may have a few spots on that Shadow that are rusted, but compared to this, I bought this in 2012. This is a 2011 model. I bought it brand new. Within the first 6 months of my purchase of this bike, every single exposed metal part on my FZ16 rusted to hell and back again. This bike has very poor quality in terms of the materials used. So the thing is, with this kind of materials, I end up having to replace my screws, my bolts, my nuts every once in a while because they rust. The plastics are cheap. Once had some gas laying on the original plastics to this bike, wiped it off. The gloss on that tank was tarnished. It is just a big blemish. That's why I changed it. Now the second thing that I hate about this bike is that the battery is too small. The battery discharges too fast. It's probably just the battery being small. Okay, you could put a bigger battery on it, but you would have to do a lot of work to fill up that cavity, increase the space to put a bigger battery, find some way to do it. But the stock size of battery that will fit on this bike is usually too small. Okay, I've gone on holiday trips that are as short as 1 week, 7 days, and the bike would discharge completely. The starter wouldn't turn, and that's after disconnecting the negative terminal on this bike to prevent it being a closed circuit. And this is a huge problem because if you had bought this bike before, if I remember correctly, before the 2011 update, okay, which was the one I bought 2011, added the Kickstarter to this. If you had bought it earlier than that, the 2009 model to the 2010 model, you would have no Kickstarter. You would be a sitting duck. You would leave the bike for 1 week and you come back to a dead bike, and you have no way of getting this bike to run without having a car or another bike to jumpstart the battery. And the thing is, if you left for a vacation longer than 1 week and didn't leave it on a battery tender, your bike battery would be flat after the 1 week mark. And then if you are gone for another 1 more week, 2 more weeks, the extended period that this bike is flat will cause the battery to degrade, and it will die. Now the third point that I want to bring up is tied to the fact that the bike has very poor build quality. Yes, the bike is actually good, you know, in terms of its engineering design. It hasn't broken down on me once, other than, you know, the odd snap clutch cable, because Singapore is very humid, so the clutch cables do snap after rusting over a period of time. The engine itself has never once broke down. The tires have never once punctured, at least the stock ones. But the poor build quality means that as a carbs bike, it depends on the tuning of the bike to ensure proper deliver of gas and optimal operation. But the thing is that after riding for 2 or 3 years, if you do not keep the bike properly maintained, sent for retuning to tighten everything, you know, the thing will rattle because of the quality of the materials. It will loosen, and the bike will eventually perform at suboptimal levels. I bought this bike. It originally was 38 kilometers per liter in terms of fuel consumption. Now it barely hits 32 kilometers per liter. It's also not a very fun bike. Yes, I bought this bike because it was fuel efficient originally, and it is very low maintenance. I've never had to send it for any major servicing. Once just an oil change, filter change, oil filter change, spark plug change, this sort of thing, but I never had to rebuild the engine, you know, once in the entire 4 years. But the problem is, it's not fun. This bike has no performance whatsoever. It's slow as hell, and I'm tired of it. I've been riding it for 4 years and I'm tired of it. A lot of people say, you know, if you want to have, you know, you want to have a cheap bike, you can't have the performance, you can't have fun with it. And if you want performance, you can never have a cheap bike. But I would like to argue against that, because the DRZ is actually a fun bike. I've tried it a bit. It's not the most performance heavy bike, but it is fun. It is actually fun in its own way, and it also has pretty decent fuel consumption, and it's easy to maintain. There is no exclusivity to this. There can be a good balance of both, and this bike just veers to one side without giving me the satisfaction of the other. So that is about all I have, you know, to complain about this bike. So if you don't mind having a weak ass bike, okay, that's reliable, you know, to a point, and it's not fun, you know, you don't care about fun, you don't care about performance, you just want something to get you from place to place and it's cheap, well, this bike works. You can get it. But to be honest, you know, nowadays, as you know, Europe has started developing a market for 300s, 400s, lower cc bikes. I believe that, you know, there are a lot better options out there that you can choose from. There is no reason whatsoever to buy this FZ16 if all you are is a hobbyist. So that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, just go ahead and hit the unlike button as well. I don't mind. I'll just take it all as feedback. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.